This is the Friday Rugby Preview on Borders Rugby Radio with Stuart Cameron.
Hello and welcome to the Friday Rugby Preview, and plenty of excitement as we take a look at two huge games involving Borders sides happening in the space of just 3 days. Hawick v Mar in the Cup final at BT Murrayfield tomorrow, and the South returning to the big stage on Tuesday at Netherdale to take on Edinburgh in the Inter-District Championship. And if that wasn't enough, tonight there's Peebles versus the Co-Optimists in the match which brings the curtain down on their centenary season. Well, we've given Dale Clancy the day off, so it's Robin Purdie with me today, and Robin, plenty to talk about of course, and we'll start with the Cup final. Hawick versus Mar at BT Murrayfield, 6 o'clock kick-off tomorrow night. Everyone looking forward to this one?
Absolutely, Stuart. It really is a mouth-watering prospect. Hawick going for the double, of course, and they're going for invincibility as well, so it's all on the line, and it's going to be a great occasion up there at Murrayfield on Saturday.
Now, of course, Hawick have gone about this very similar, I think, to the way Kelso have. Feet well and truly on the ground, confident, very professional, and that's been led by Matty and the coaching team, and that's people like Lewis Bertram and Graham Hogg as well.
Indeed, and we spoke about Kelso from the context of it's culture, and that is instilled from the top, and it seeps down throughout everybody, right down through the ranks. And evidently this season it is a good place to be. It looks very much like they're enjoying each other's company, they're enjoying the rugby, and I've just been so impressed. I'm kind of wax lyrical about them all season, but I've just been so impressed with not just on the field, but how they've went about their business off the field, how they've spoken, how they've conducted themselves. It has been a remarkable season for Hawick, and it would cap it off perfectly on Saturday if they can do the double. I mean, that's folklore stuff. That really is folklore stuff, and what else is folklore stuff is going invincible. If we look at it from a football context, what do people talk about? What do they remember? They talk about the Invincibles, Arsenal, whenever it was 2003. Nobody talks about the fact that they drew 12 games and ended on 90 points. Man City 2 or 3 years ago topped 100 points, but nobody talks about it because they didn't go invincible. Celtic went invincible a few years, and Rangers, and it's all, it's what gets remembered. And you throw in a double as well. People remember double winning teams and treble winning teams, and it's a combination, invincibility and double. That is absolute folklore stuff in Hawick.
Because let's face it, 25, 30 years time and more, people will be talking about this.
Oh, and rightly so. People talk about the last Hawick double team, and you look at some of the names that were in that team: Scott McLeod and John Houston and Roddy Deans and guys like that. And you look at Hawick down the generations and some of the names that roll off the tongue. If this vintage can pick up this vintage should be spoken about for years to come anyway, regardless, based on what they've done in the Premiership, the dramatic end to the Premiership final game, that will live long in the memory, but this will be the icing on the cake, and absolutely they should be talked about for generations to come.
Well, let's hear from head coach Matty Douglas, the first of two chats with him on the programme, this one concentrating very much on the Cup final and Hawick.
Busy week for you, Matty. You're looking after not just the South but the Hawick as well. How have you balanced it all?
I'm pretty invested in what I do coaching wise, and look, I've gave the South a lot of time the last couple of weeks, but if I'm honest, now attention turns to Hawick in the Cup, and look, we've prepped really well. Last night was a top quality session, and these boys, the hard bit is trying to lift them again. And we're 3 weeks since we played Hawks, we've won a Premiership, and it's up to us on Saturday. If we want to be the top team in Scotland, then we need to back this up on Saturday. But look, there's great energy around the club, and the players are excited. We had 31 boys down on Tuesday night, and it shows that everybody's still trying to get in this squad for Saturday. But look, it's been tough to juggle things around, but it's I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't enjoy it. So we're looking forward to it.
And every one of the squad wants to be called at the end of the season the Invincibles.
We always say it that as a team and as a club, we take one game at a time, and we've done that all season. And it's not been that we take blocks of games. We literally look at the game the week after, and that's where we've had a lot of success, is that we didn't get carried away. And look, we've taken this Cup final, we've prepped it in the same way as we've done. Keep everything the same. Kick-off's about the only thing that's different this week, but we've kept everything the same, and this is what these players thrive off of. But look, it would be the icing on the cake, but it's taken nothing away from we're going to have to perform. They've had a long time to prep as well, and look, it's got to be who's best on the day, and if I'm honest, the performances the last couple of times haven't been the greatest, but we've won. And the chat this week was, let's get back to where we were, and show why we were putting 40 points on teams like Sakari and Aki's, and Murrayfield's a great place to show people what we can do and showcase on a big pitch, and show that we're not just about being a big forward pack, that we can actually move the ball and get it wide as well.
The 6 o'clock kick-off, will that cause you any problems?
Nah, look, it's just everything moves forward. It moves backwards, I should say. The time we leave, and that's been the talk, that they just prep the same way. They're the same as players, and look, we've had a great buy-in for the club. We've got a lot of people going up to support, and
10 buses, I hear.
Yeah, we've got a lot of buses going, and it's great for the players because they deserve the support, and now it's up to us to put on a show and really perform, and no leave anyone on the bus or in the changing rooms, and I think we'll definitely do it justice, since the last time we were at Murrayfield.
Of course, with Mar, you've beaten them twice in the league and also the playoffs as well, so it's 3-0 at the moment. They'll be wanting to close that gap, of course, and it's literally a cup final.
Well, it is, and Marza, they're a top quality side, and I think they had a tough start to the season, but they found their form, and they managed to make the playoffs. And to be honest, they played really well at Mansfield. We kind of pulled away with 15 minutes to go, but it was defensively where we won it, and that's been the chat. Like, look, our defence is really good, but attacking wise, let's show what we can do. Let's really take it to them, and we focus really hard on where and how we maybe can break Mar down and try and exploit a bit of space in the backfield. But taking that away from Mar, they'll be up for this, and I know they've got a lot of buses going as well, and they'll definitely have a voice to this crowd.
Well, we're all really excited about it. The whole of Hawick is behind you, so the best of luck.
Thanks, Stuart. Cheers.
Still can't get over how well he's done this season, literally taken the reins from George Graham, put right into the deep end. Not only is he floated, I think there's some in Hawick think he walks on water.
Oh my word, what a job he's done. And as he alluded to, and as you alluded to, he's juggling a few, spinning a few plates at the moment with the South job, but this will be his number one focus for the coming few days. And we spoke about it the last time, I think, on the preview show. He's just so impressive. There are not enough superlatives, in my opinion, to describe what he's achieved this season. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not just on the pitch, it's off the pitch. It's how the players have conducted themselves, how they've dealt with the media and us guys and all the rest of it, and that stems from the top ultimately, and he's part of that. And a huge amount of what the good, all the good that's come out of Hawick this season, a huge amount of it can be contributed to that lad.
And of course we must mention John Hogg as well, who's director of rugby, has overseen all this.
Oh yeah, they've got a great team there. They've got some great individuals, but it appears that the coaching group are a real team. Gary Muir and Graham Hogg and Lewis Bertram as well. They all chip in, and as a collective, what a job they've done.
So how's it all happened then? I mean, someone so young to come in at Premiership level, win the Premiership in an unbeaten season, and take his team to the cup final.
Who knows? If I knew and you could bottle it, then he'd be a wealthy man. But it really is incredible, isn't it, when you think about it? Because he was a good player as well. Let's not forget that he was a canny operator when he played. But they're no right place, right time. But there's no luck, and there's no luck involved. He's obviously just very good at what he does, and all credit to him. And who knows where he can go. I
was going to say, that's the $1 million question. Can Hawick actually hang on to him now, because he'll be in demand?
Well, you would imagine so. I mean, he's if they win on Saturday, he's presided over a group of players that have gone unbeaten throughout the season, a league and cup double. So he has to be in demand. Surely he can't not be in demand. It would be ridiculous if he wasn't in demand. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But you look at Hawick's squad. They've got a wonderful squad. We've spoken all season about the amount of depth that they've got. And you look forward to Saturday and you see, okay, well, Matty's right. Mar are not just there to make up the numbers, but on the other hand, Mar have scored one try against Hawick in 3 games this season, and that's testament to Hawick's defence.
And this is a good Mar side that likes scoring tries.
It's a good Mar side, but you look at the squads and you say, okay, well, where can Mar exploit weaknesses in Hawick's squad? Well, let's look at Hawick's front row. My word, there's no weaknesses there. So look at the second row. Oh right, okay, the back row, into the half-backs. Good pair of half-backs Hawick have got. And okay, right, well, we've got the Bickerstaff brothers in the centre. really good players is that, all right, Andrew Mitchell and Ethan Riley. So even you look at Mar's real strengths and you put them against Hawick's, and it's hard to see where Mar can get parity, to be honest. But as Matty alluded to, Hawick have beaten them 3 times. Mar have only scored 1 try, like I say, but Hawick have no run-up cricket scores against them. But it's hard to see, if Hawick turn up and they're on their day, it's hard to see how it can be anything other than a Hawick win.
OK, let's have a look at the squad then. Kirk Ford at fullback. The wingers are Ronan McKean and Lewis Ferguson. Ethan Riley and Andrew Mitchell, the centre partnership. Gareth Welsh and Kyle Brunton are the halfbacks. Front row, well, it picks itself. Shawn Muir, Fraser Rennick, Nicky Little. You've got Dalton Redpath and Sean Fairbairn in the boiler house, and Stuart Graham, Callum Rennick and Jay Linton in the back row. And on the bench, well, how about this? Coming on, Matt Carrier, Rory McLeod, Marcus Brogan, Hughie Donaldson, Declan Lightfoot, Grant Huggin and Charlie Welsh. That's a strong squad.
It is a strong squad. It's a ridiculously strong squad. And I think I said in the pre-order when we were talking about the potential South team last week on the preview show, for me, the 3 best players in the division, not just for Hawick, but in the division this season, have been in any, let's make it a top 4 in any order. We've got Kirk Ford, Fraser Rennick, Ethan Riley and Jay Linton. I mean, for me, this season, those have been the 4 best players in the league in one team.
Wow.
You know, how... I think it would be quite hard to argue against that, to be honest. But that's what Mar are up against. You know, what if Hawick got 13 or 14 guys in the south? I mean, there's ridiculous strength there. Even when you look at the bench, you got Rory McLeod. He seemingly causes his man all kinds of problems when he comes on. And Matty Carrier, huge experience there. And even the inexperienced players, Marcus Brogan, for example, I think he's only turned out once for Hawick this season. He's a real stop-start season with injury, but he's Scotland age grade. That's what Hawick have got.
Well, let's listen to the captain, who is Shawn Muir.
Shawn, big day coming up. You must be so proud to lead the boys out.
Massive. Look, excited to get going on Saturday. It's been a long few weeks since the semi-final, but the boys are just buzzing now. We had a good session last night and have another one tomorrow and then roll on Saturday. We can't wait.
And of course you've had the South session as well.
Aye, session tonight as well. It's been a big few weeks, a lot of running, a lot of training sessions, but look, it's put us in good stead for Saturday, and all the boys have thankfully made it through, so now it should be full strength.
3 weeks ago it was, you last played Glasgow Hawks at Hewenden, which was an interesting game, of course, pretty even for the first 60 minutes, and then you found another gear, I think it's safe to say, and you pulled away. And before that, of course, was the famous match against Curry. So in Matty's own words, you haven't played to your full potential in the last couple of games.
Definitely. Look, I think probably first 60 minutes at Hewenden, Hawks were a better team. Last 20 were fitness and just probably your structure and the quality of our squad showed off in the end. But look, we've not played to our potential and our capabilities, but this Saturday we're looking to put an 80-minute performance and bring the cup home.
And 10 buses, I believe, leaving Mansfield Park.
Look, we always get a big following. I think every treasurer away team we go to is delighted when they see Hawick coming. I think the people at SRU would have been chuffed when they seen us in the final, just knowing the support we bring. So look, we know we'll be well supported, but it's up to us now to go out on the pitch and do the job.
Must be a real buzz at the moment around the club. I mean, the fact that you're one game away from being called the Invincibles.
Look, definitely. It has just been one game at a time the whole season, and Saturday's no different. We know what we've got to do, just go out and perform, and every day like this squad will go down in history at Hawick. So look, we're excited, we're ready to go and just bring it on. And
how do you balance that? I mean, the excitement and then keeping your feet on the ground?
I think it's just the squad of boys we've got. Everybody we play for each other. We've got no egos. Everybody's just happy to play with the jersey on. So look, we just keep your foot on the ground. We just play for the jersey, and we're lucky we've got a top quality side.
So that's on Saturday. A couple of days later, down here Tuesday for the South. It's a busy old weekend, isn't it?
Aye. Ask us that on Sunday. Look, massively excited to play for the South. It means a lot to the people down in this area. So it's no lost on me and the squad of boys out there. So really excited to get going. Once Saturday's done, it'll be full focus on Tuesday night.
Well, Shawn has had a fantastic season personally as well, coming back from the brink of retirement, in fact, because there was talk that he might call it a day, and then he thought, well, give it one last year, see if you can get that elusive premiership, and that's been ticked. Now the cup final.
Yeah, I bet he's glad he did come back. Again, we spoke about or mentioned some of the names earlier in terms of top performers. He's another one, and not just this season. He's a top performer season in, season out, and he's a leader of men as well. People follow him, and you follow him. I don't know so much about what he says in the dressing room because I'm not privy to that, but you'd certainly follow him by way of actions. He hits his, he carries relentlessly, he makes his tackles, he hits rucks, he offers himself up for work the whole time. He's just a brilliant player, and
he'll go down as one of the great Greens captains.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you'll look at some of the names that have captained this great club over the years, but yet he is right up there. He'll be up there with the Kev Reeds and the Colin Deans and whatnot. If he lifts that trophy above his head on Saturday there, and that's a double, and they've gone invincible, then he's up there with the best of them.
Now I just texted Matty to check his age. He's actually 28. It's incredibly young.
Oh yeah, for what he's achieving this season. Anybody under the age of 30, under the age of 40, even involved in coaching at the level that he's coaching it. Like I said before, it's just ridiculous.
Well, the last two games, Hawick have not been at their best. We saw them at Hughenden, and as Shawn and Matty have both admitted, for 60 minutes, they were a little bit under the caution parts, and it could have gone either way. It was that final 20 minutes, that fitness that came through, and in the end, I mean, the scoreboard looked pretty comfortable.
Yeah, maybe, well, you mentioned there that they weren't at their best for 60 minutes, but my word, in that subsequent 20 minutes, they were absolutely outstanding. Let's bear in mind, in the Hawks game, in the semi-final, they hadn't had that much rugby for the preceding 2 or 3 weeks, and they maybe just took a wee while to hit their straps in that game. But when they did, when it got to the 60-minute mark, it was almost like, I think I said last week, it was almost like they sort of hit a switch and said, right, enough of this, let's get the job done, and they absolutely blew Glasgow Hawks away in the last 20 minutes. It was really impressive.
Are we expecting a return to the big numbers on Saturday?
It's hard to say. It could go anyway. It could be tight, or they could score 3 tries in the first 15 minutes, and then it could become a procession. But I think Mar have got enough about them that will ensure that won't be the case, but it quite easily could. But could Mar sneak it as well? With a prevailing wind and Hawick having a massively off day, Mar could. Let's take nothing away from them, and let's not. I'm maybe talking a wee bit like it's a foregone conclusion here, but it's hard not to talk like it's a foregone conclusion. Stuart, there was however many points between them in the league. Mar have only scored once against them in 3 games, so it's hard to see anything other than a Hawick win. But yeah, it could be tight, but Hawick could also blow them away.
There's something else that they'll be hoping to achieve: their 24th consecutive Bill McLaren Shield.
Yeah, at what point do they get to just keep it? Yeah, again, just another byproduct of their success. We almost forget about it in the context of everything else that they're achieving. The Premiership is won, the Cup's to be won, there's the invincibility thing. But of course, there's the Bill McLaren Shield, and it has to go, you would imagine, eventually. I don't see it going at the weekend, but it'll have to go eventually, and it'll be a wrench when it does.
Well, let's turn our attention to a match being played tonight at the Gites. It's Peebles against the Quoptimists to mark the end of the centenary season at Peebles. And let's hear from the man in charge of the centenary celebrations this season, who I spoke to recently, and that is Bob Hogarth.
Yeah, it's been a good centenary year. We started off with a ex-captain's event in the Marquee before the Sevens, which was attended by a lot of people and went really well. And then we had our black tie dinner at the Hydro at the beginning of January, which Dale was helping to compare, and it was a very successful night.
Did you say help or hindrance?
Well, a bit of both, I think, if you be honest. But no, it was really, really good night. We had our centenary book, which we got help from Athol Innes in putting together. And we finish off with our centenary match against the Quoptimists on Friday the 5th of May. We're hoping to get a large crowd down at the Gites that night, as many people as we can. Hopefully it'll be a good entertaining game. They're usually sort of free-flowing rugby. The Quoptimist team, I don't know who's all in it as yet, but we're waiting their team with interest, and hopefully it'll be a good way to round off the centenary season.
Let's talk about National 2 at the moment, because it's been the league of death, really, isn't it? I mean, 5 going down, and it was an incredible finish when we saw Glasgow Accies get over the line. They needed 38 points and got 39 points difference between them and Falkirk, who I think everyone's favourites to go up. And Newton Stewart, with about 2 minutes to go, were rubbing their hands together, you'd imagine, saying we're promoted. And then a couple of late tries, all of a sudden Glasgow Accies finished top of the table. 22 matches, 1 point difference. Yeah. Extraordinary.
Can't really get my head round that result, to be honest, Stuart. I mean, to play 22 league games and win the division by 1 point differential, almost incredible. But fair play to Glasgow Accies, they must have played really well to do that, because Falkirk were a pretty good side. When we played them, we managed to beat Glasgow Accies twice, so we've managed to beat the division winners twice, but Falkirk beat us twice, so it was that kind of division. Pretty good season for Peebles, just 1 or 2 key injuries at the wrong time, I think, maybe went against us, but we'll be in a better position to challenge for it next year, I think.
And this is the thing as well, you were never in any real danger, were you, it seemed? You were always in that kind of 4th position. I mean, between 3rd and 4th there was quite a gap, between 4th and 5th there was quite a gap. So we always seem to have that cushion, if you like, and of course a league where 5 teams go down. Brutal, really. But from a Peebles perspective, not as much excitement, was it? Which is probably, you prefer that.
We were pretty happy not to be involved in that, to be honest, Stuart, because 5 going down is pretty brutal. But it's the only season that's ever happened.
6 down on National 3.
But in 6 down National 3. But to get to 10-team leagues, I think it was the only way they could do it.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly a great supporter of 10-team leagues, because it'll give us 18 league games and should give us time to concentrate on 7s and things like that, rather than trying to play really crucial league games at this time of the year. And I think the season will be better for it.
And certainly this ending against the Quoptimist on Friday the 5th of May, you'll certainly be expecting a big crowd just to end the celebrations.
Yeah, we're hoping to, I would like to think we can attract anything between 500 and 1,000 people to this game. That's kind of our objective, and so hopefully all the people at Peebles that hear this will turn out and support the club that night, and hopefully all the youngsters, mums and dads will get down as well, because they've had their junior section of the club has had a tremendous season for the centenary season. And the more people we can get down and finish this off in style, the better.
7:30 kick-off for that one, and the Peebles Piranhas are playing bigger before that. The beer tent will be open too, so plenty of entertainment down there. No Dale Clancy, sadly, in the Peebles side, but plenty of well-known names in the Quoptimus line-up, including Robbie Shirra-Gibb and Hamish and Angus Weir, Russell Kerr, Craig Borthwick, Alan Frame, Andrew Jardine, many others as well. So should be a good night tonight.
Yeah, it'll be a good night up there tonight for sure. As you mentioned, the beer will be flowing, and I think they'll get a big crowd, and deservedly so. They, to me, look like an upwardly mobile club. Peebles, Ian Chisholm's gone in there. Ian, I would imagine, knows his own stock and where he is as a coach at the moment, which he's going places, and he's not gone in there unless he thought he could enhance the thing, which in turn enhances his reputation as well. And I think he's doing that absolutely. They've had a decent campaign in the league. They've got so many good youngsters coming through. If they can keep hold of them, their youth setup is in a fantastic place. And I think the best compliment you can give Peebles is how they've become competitive on the 7s circuit. And I think that was one of his objectives, but he certainly achieved that. And they're very much in the category of no mugs, Peebles now, and they could kick on next season. I would not be at all surprised if they're very much in the shake-up next season. I think they should be hoping to. You look who's come down from the division above: Stu Mel, Aberdeen and Stirling. Peebles should be looking to be in the upper echelons of the division, and there's no reason why they can't be next season.
We must mention, of course, the Kings of the Sevens from last weekend, which saw Melrose take the Kelso title and Durham University take the Earlston title, with the Gala runner-up in both. The table as it stands after 8 events with 2 to go: Melrose 45, Gala 37, Embrackers and Watsonians inseparable in 3rd place, both on 29 points there. Kelso 5th with 24, then it's Selkirk 21, Jed Forest 20, Hawick and Peebles on 19, and Berwick on 6. So with 2 to go, as I say, Gala now within 8 points of Melrose, and it's going to be very, very interesting when we see the draw for Jed Forest, which is being made on Sunday, I believe. Well, finally tonight, a look at Tuesday's big match for the South against Edinburgh. That's at Netherdale. It's a 7 o'clock kick-off. Tickets on the gate, £10, £5 concessions. I'm sure there's going to be a very big crowd to watch the South in action for the very first time in 6 years. And remember, they've only played 4 games this century and are still unbeaten, with wins over Barbarians, Northumberland, and a couple of home and away wins against Caledonia Reds. Let's bring back the man of the moment, Matty Douglas, not only head coach of Hawick, but also head coach of the South, and this is what he had to say at the end of the third coaching session on Wednesday night.
We've just finished the third session here at Netherdale. There's one more to go. Any further forward, crossing those T's and dotting those I's?
Yeah, look, it was a really good session tonight. A bit more detail, obviously, try to look after the Hawick boys a little bit. That we'll name a 25-man squad to the players, and then team announcement will be on Sunday. That'll be the plan. But look, it's tough. Standing right now, I probably couldn't tell you a team just because there's that many boys put their hand up. But look, we'll make that call, and team announcement will be on Sunday.
And as you said before, the inter-district is kind of here to stay. So if people aren't involved this time, they'll certainly be involved next time round.
Yeah, they will. And we've had a chat pre-training, had a bit meeting, and look, the boys that don't make it this week, they'll be back in the week after. And again, fighting for selection on the 21st. I know for already there's boys unavailable for that game, so these boys will get an opportunity. But it's just great, the quality that we've got and the intensity of the sessions, and it's great to see have all these boys together, and they're gelling real good, and it's a great team spirit already. And we've only trained 3 times, so it shows probably how much it means to these players that they want to take this pitch on Tuesday and showcase their ability, not just themselves, but as a South of Scotland.
And you're right in what you're saying as well, because this is the third session, and they started off, they were gelling pretty well, but they're really tight now.
Yeah, they are, and look, we could have just had one session, but I think once we got the buy-in, why not have 3 sessions? Like we can manage them as coaches, that's our job, and every session we've had 35, 36 players here, and it shows the buy-in that there is, and we want to have a good crack at it. You can't, to be honest, I couldn't have cared how every other team's preparing. We took a decision that we're taking it really seriously, and we have to perform on the Tuesday night, but we're giving ourselves the best opportunity possible.
You've had a lot of surprises, no doubt, of people stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, and as I say, I didn't get to see boys in that one. I think watching your highlights is about the only time that I get to.
Plenty of them,
and you have your names, but to actually see them in training is really good, and that's what these sessions were about. Like, look, we're getting together, but put your hand in the ring. That's what the chat before training was. The squad's not picked, and there was a few boys tonight really stood up, and makes our life even more difficult, to be honest.
Well, all of us. I mean, there was eight of our lot from Borders Rugby Radio and TV got together a week ago, and we were kind of trying to pick the starting 15. Some were easier than others, let's say, but it just shows you that, as you say, the quality that's in there, and I reckon there might be 1 or 2 surprises yet.
Yeah, there could be. I think there's obviously players in there that have performed highly at the Premiership. So, but at the same time, we've got a lot of boys in Nat 1. Your Melrose teams, your Gala teams, that are really showcasing their skills and ability. And I think they've really put their hand in the ring, and that's what we'll be picking off in terms of not just performances, but how they train. And there's definitely a few boys surprised us and throwing their cell into the mix for selection.
Mouth-watering stuff, no doubt about that. I just can't wait for this one. South against Edinburgh, 7 o'clock kick-off at Netherdale, and if you can't get there for any reason, we'll be bringing you live commentary from 6:30 right through to the end of the match. You feel the buzz now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's coming through. I think the players, the coaches have really bought in, and yeah, the people that I've spoken to are discussing who should be playing and who shouldn't be playing, and why is this guy in and why is that guy not in, and that's brilliant. That's what we want, Just great to see it back, and great to see it back permanently.
Well, that's just about your lot for today. Don't forget, we'll be back on Saturday at 5:30 for the Scottish Cup final. It's Hawick against Mar, and then of course on Tuesday at 6:30 South versus Edinburgh, and then on Friday for the next edition of the Friday Rugby Preview, and we'll be turning our attention to the Jed Forest Sevens. But for now, from Robin and I, thanks for listening, and bye for now.